This is a clip from an earlier live stream. I know you're going to like it, so the link to the full video is down below. Check it out. I'll see you over there.
Truly think, and I don't know your relationship with her, I truly think Candace Owens is one of the most diabolical, evil-hearted women in America, probably in the world. One of the worst women in the world. I really think she's borderline evil. She, like 2 years ago, was talking about, and I know, I'm sorry, because I know you must probably be friends or something or somewhat, you probably talk, but she was talking about how Israel, I just want to give an example of a spiritual demonization of Israel in the name of Christianity that has nothing to do with like a regular, like, I don't like the politics of Israel. I don't like the way they handle things. She was saying that, Herzl, who, was like the OG Zionist who thought about the founding of Israel and led to the founding of Israel, he was from the same place in Bohemia, Moravia that Frankists were from. And Frankists touch children and they like to, traffic children around the world and have people sleep. It's just so sick. And that he must have been a Frankist. So Israel was actually founded for the purposes of pedophilia. I have a direct quote, whatever. That's what I mean by like, and it was all about, Frankism versus like Christianity, this spiritual thing. And I think that that's a dangerous way of presenting Christianity. And it's going to create a problem.
Yeah, I think that, just like any religion, and I'll get to speaking about Candace here in a second, but just like any religion, people take the religion and they weaponize it in the way that they want to weaponize it. There's people who are Jewish who take Judaism and weaponize it. They take the Talmud and they weaponize it against Christians. Some people do. And every religion has that. You have the Islam. They take it and they weaponize it. And they blow up people and they kill people in the name of Allah. And Christianity is no different. The Crusades were an example of, in part, was an example of that. And so I don't think it's very unique that these Christians are doing this, or people who claim to be Christians are doing this. This is par for the course for people who have been deceived. I think that Tucker and all of them have been deceived, because if you actually read the Bible, and let me just say this. Do I think that Candace, and I know her personally, this is my friend, right? So, I'm open to criticizing anybody, but, I know her more than anybody, right? Mm-hmm. So do I think that she's intentionally being an evil person and all that stuff? No, I just think that she's been deceived.
I'm waiting to hear. Y'all make sure you let me know what he says after today and what she's saying about TPUSA.
I think that the Catholic Church and certain segments of the Catholic Church are deceived. And then they preach deception. And that deception, and when you turn against God and his promise to his people in the land, you get open to a reprobate mind, which in my opinion, do you start falling for every deception from the devil to teach you and tell you that that God's plan is not what God's plan is. And I think a lot of people fall susceptible to it. I think Candace really believed the stuff that she say. I think that she really believed these things. And as her friend, my objective isn't to blast her in public. Obviously, I can disagree with her principles. My job is not to blast her in public. My job is to pray for her and talk to her in private, to try to, in my opinion, if I have an issue with her, to try to talk her through the issue, or talk with her with the issue, show her some scripture, pray for her. That's my job. Everybody else can say whatever they want to say about Candace. I love Candace. I really do think she's a great person. I just think she's falling for the okie doke when it comes to this anti-Israel stuff. Now, I can't speak for Nick Fuentes. I don't know him. I don't know Tucker Carlson. I think that both of them are evil. I think that they're evil. I just think that my friend Candace she's listening to certain things and it's got her believing this. And a lot of people believe the way she believes. It's not unique. It's almost like a part of a Catholic denomination to believe all of these negative things about.
Okay, I'm going to stop for a second because I want to see if he was going to clarify that. He says that he thinks Candace is a good person, but she's fallen victim to the anti-Semitism. That's not the worst thing that she's done. That's not the worst thing that she's done, Brandon. Now, granted, it is on the slate. Let's not minimize that by any means or measures. The issue is not that she's anti-Semitic, which she is, by the way. The issue is that she's demonic. As a young lady said right there's some real bona fide problems that have nothing to do with Israel. And we're going to see that today, I'm sure, at 5 o'clock. So let's keep it going. Let's go.
About Israel.
I was not going to get to Candace Owens this quickly, but I am going to get there eventually, but I'm going to mention her now. I don't understand why people, with platforms as big as yours are not calling her out by name as much. I know that recently you called her like sister or something on one of your podcasts. I know you reached out to her, and if it's true that, I don't know what's happening with France, if they're actually trying to kill her or not, but that obviously would be terrible. But I've been, talking about her online for a couple years, and no one was listening to me because she, during the time of Kanye West, when he was saying that Jews milk black people until they die, that's a direct quote, or that Hitler was a great guy, he built, great highways. And then, Candace Owens was getting on the Daily Wire, which is, I believe co-founded by a Jew, Ben Shapiro. And she was just saying, this is what freedom looks like. He's a free black man. This is him being liberated. And I was a fan of hers and saying, what is going on? This is not normal. And again, it's not just about like Jew hatred. It's just about, I don't know, like common sense. So it's just obscene what's going on. So you're experiencing all of this because of your support for Israel and not saying that, what Israel is doing to Gaza is a genocide?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the crazy thing is, and there's a bright side to this, right? There's a lot of other people that are very enthusiastic.
Please tell us what that is.
That are very supportive. I've got a lot more followers that are reasonable. We're kind of like filtering out the idiots that no longer follow me, I guess. But yeah, it's really because I literally said, let's have a fair evaluation consistent with the evaluation that you've given every other country, right? If you're going to say this is a genocide, it need to be a comparable genocide to other genocides that we know in history, right? You can't say that this is a genocide, but if America did it, it wouldn't be a genocide. In America, we've done way crazier stuff than what we see in Israel. Or if this was any other country defending themselves against a terrorist, we would never call them out for this, or claim that they're ethnically cleansing, which Charlie Kirk mentioned, which I would disagree with him on.
Yeah.
If he was, if we could have that conversation. But, I just don't understand to a certain degree why people are so incensed about something that they would not be incensed otherwise if it wasn't Israel. And it makes me think it's spiritual. It has to be somewhat spiritual, because if you find yourself, and I don't know why people feel this way about Jewish people, because I've met good Jewish people.
I'm going to stop for a second. I think it's interesting that Brandon Tatum is using the word spiritual, and the young lady, the hostess, is using the word spiritual. At this stage of the game, we might need to actually define the terms that we're using, because if you're saying that it's spiritual and she's saying she's spiritual, you're a Christian and she's a Jewess, we might need to really be clear exactly what we mean. What do you mean by it's spiritual? What do you mean by it's demonic? And then even more than that, maybe explain and tease out a little bit, what's the solution? Because if it is in fact a demonic situation or demonic influence, it's not going to be solved from anything that we can do. There's nothing we can do to resolve that. It's going to have to be a spiritual solution, an anti-demonic solution. And that solution can only be in Christ. So maybe we need to really tease that out, Brandon. I know a lot of you all are finished with Brandon. I'm done with him as well. I feel like he's danced around the mulberry bush so much that, you know what, dude, just go on somewhere at this point in the game, because you're not going to do what's right and do what is necessary to actually put your friend in the spotlight and tell her that she's wrong. You can do it in private, but that doesn't resolve the issue, because what she's done has been demonic and spiritually demonic in public. She's not doing this in private. She's doing this in public. So I disagree with Brandon wholeheartedly here, but I do think that by him saying things like it's spiritual, it's demonic, it's blah, 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 you need to really define these terms now, because I don't believe that we're using the same terms. I don't think they mean exactly what you think they mean. Let's go.
People. And I met dirtbag Jewish people. Just like I've met good black and dirtbag black. I mean, everybody come in different shapes, form, and fashions, and everybody got problems. Unless you sleeping under a rock, everybody got issues. But I don't understand why it's exacerbated when it comes to Jewish people. It's like if a Jewish person does something wrong, every Jew is represented by this one person. The Jews. That's how they say. They go, the Jews did this. No, it's just
And their
one
eyes are
person.
like this wide.
Yeah,
Actually,
it's the Jews. And then if Israel does something that people may disagree with, they are taking over the world. They are taking over America. They're the seed of demonic spirits or something. It's like, but no other country gets treated like that. Not even the one we live on. And we do a lot of crazy stuff. And hey, I love my country. So we do crazy stuff. So what? It's like that family member that's crazy. I could talk about, but you better not talk about it. So when you're an American, you could talk about how bad America is, but nobody else better say nothing.
That's actually part of the problem. That's not a noble quality to say that, you know what, you can't chastise my family member because they're my family member. That's actually the problem. And we see this at the micro level in the black community. That's the problem with the black community. We won't say anything, and God have mercy on your soul if you say something about this issue. So that's not a badge of honor, Brandon. Maybe I don't see it, and maybe somebody else does see it, and they're calling balls and strikes, and they're calling exactly what the problem is. And Brandon, that's not a bad thing for somebody outside of you to say, hey, you know what? You're doing this wrong. Or, hey, you know what? You're missing the mark here, and explaining it to me or to a family member or whatever. That's why you're in the position that you're in now. You're in the trick bag as it relates to Candace Owens, because you refuse to call her out and you deny people that call her out. That's the problem, Brandon. Shout out to, again, this is the Rachel Lee, I believe, show. I'll drop the link in the chat if the mods can drop it in there as well. Let's finish up.
About my country. And, that's the way I feel about it. And the same thing with Israel. It's like, well, they may do things that are not 100% kosher, for lack of better terms. They may not do everything right. Welcome to the reality of countries. But are they acting in poor faith? Are they committing a real genocide? Are they doing nefarious things? Like that, that's my evaluation point.
yeah.
And the fact that these people aren't given a fair evaluation is where they lose me on. They lose me when they call it a genocide when Israel is literally feeding people and supplying water and medical. They give medical treatment to these people. They don't want to talk about it, but they give medical treatment to the people. They flying right outside of Gaza, or they traveling right outside of Gaza. These children are getting treated at little pop-up hospitals. I've seen them. I've heard people talk about them. They're giving leaflets. They tell them when they're going to bomb places. When in the history of warfare have that ever been the case? Never. It has never happened. Their combatant to civilian ratio is better than any war that America has ever been a part of. So why is such vitriol? Why such cancellation and hatred? And it's spiritual, in my opinion.
Well, it absolutely is spiritual. And this segues into that next question I was going to ask you. You're a Christian, right? You're a devout Christian. This is something that I feel very confused about, because I never want to walk into someone's trap.
Okay, I gotta get myself ready. I can only imagine what she's about to say, and I'm only can imagine what Brandon Tatum's going to say. As a oneness, a modalist, I can only imagine. Ooh, get myself ready. Here we go, Lord. Oh my gosh, I can only imagine.
These bad faith actors, like Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes, Candace Owens, people like like them, they're all Christian. I know I believe that Candace and Nick are Catholics, and I don't think that Tucker Carlson's a Catholic, but they're Christians. And
allegedly,
as a Jew, I've learned Jewish history my entire life. I'm a student of history. I'm kind of obsessed with Jewish history and history in general. Christians and Jews don't have the most amazing history to our relationship in history. And that's not something people bring up anymore, because thank God we're so, we have such a great relationship now. We're like, brothers, sisters, cousins, whatever you want to call it. One of my neighbors is a Christian. One of my other neighbors is a Muslim. They're a Muslim family, and we all take care of each other. We're nice to each other. We're civil. But so much of this hatred is coming in the name of Christianity. And I make some videos about this, and then Christians get angry about it. But I feel kind of stuck, because God forbid I no part of me hates Christianity or Christians, but it feels like this hatred is coming in the package of Christianity. Like, for example, Tucker keeps bringing up, he'll, accuse Israel of genocide and then accuse Jews of not knowing how to treat people in the image of God, right? Because they don't follow the New Testament. What in the hell is that? It just pisses me off so much. Yeah. And Nick Fuentes, I mean, he's, I was going to say he's even more extreme. I don't even know if he is more extreme because Tucker, I believe that he platformed him because he agrees with him. It's that simple. He doesn't want to say it. Ben Shapiro had a great way. He's like laundering his ideas. But they're using a Christian basis and foundation to demonize Jews and Israel. And by the way, like you said, I could not care less if someone doesn't like the government in Israel or has a problem. There's no one cares. Most Jews I know are not in love with Bibi Netanyahu or the government. No one cares.
Okay, so I realized that my edit cut this off a little bit early. I just realized oh no, it's a little bit cut off. So I actually don't know where the question was going. So we'll have to bring that back in. The full video, I'm going to make sure the link is down. The moderators have dropped it in the chat. I hate it because I do think that she's just trying to be nice. Where we're right here. She's trying to be nice, but sadly, there needs to be some clear delineations, and there's going to be some areas that we're not going to be able to just rock with. I mean, there are going to be some real bona fide short areas that we're not going to be able to rock with, and that's just going to be it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no other way to make it better. We just disagree, and that's just what it is. And I hate that Brandon Tatum is not willing to do and what I think needs to be done, which is the hard thing of separating himself from Candace Owens. I realize they got a long history with Blexic and all that kind of stuff like that. I realize that she probably has some text messages that he probably doesn't want out. Maybe he needs to just go ahead and put them out there. Here's all my text message conversations with Candace Owens. Now, just put them out there. I don't know. Email, same thing. We know that's what she's going to do. She's going to weaponize his friendship, and that maybe that's what he's scared of. Maybe that's what he's worried about. But I cannot wrap my mind around the lyrical gymnastics that he does in order to try to justify what she's doing and trying to make it normalize and say, oh, well, it's just as bad as this person or just as bad. No, stop trying to compare. This is a classic case of whataboutism. Or what about Tucker? What about Nick Fuentes? What about this person? No, what about Candace? Stay right there on Candace. And we really truly don't have to make it about Israel. What she's going to be doing to TPUSA in a few minutes is going to be completely insane. And we don't really have to make it about Israel. It is about what TPUSA, and again, Brandon supports TPUSA. I know you liked that episode. This is actually a clip from a larger live stream. The link is down in the description, so you can go check it out. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you down there. Grace and peace.